Hey there YouTube, it's Brittany here. I just want to share with you my 8-month update. Yeah, it's been 8 months. 8 months since I started taking feminizing hormones, or HRT, and here we are. So where do I start? I think I'll start by saying that if you would have asked me 8 months ago, would I be thinking I'd be anywhere near where I am now, the answer would have been absolutely not. Are you crazy? Just the thought, there was the hope that I would have had some form of success in my transition, but I never thought I would be here at this stage. It never gets old, and it never ceases to amaze me how quickly this has happened. Now, to put in context, I said when I first came out, when I was telling my story to my friends and my family, I was like, fear not, nothing's really going to change for at least 8 to 12 months. You'll still have me, I'll still be the same old person, and there might be some little subtle changes around that 8-month mark that the keen eye might start to pick up, and boy, was I wrong. As we all know, at the 2-month mark, my changes really accelerated, and I got to a point, probably mentally, maybe I did go off a bit too quick, where I thought, you know what, I'm doing this, I'm just doing it. And I started to present full time, and I was Brittany from pretty much Christmas Day. So yeah, we're at the 8-month mark, and the changes have been just quite amazing, to be honest with you. Mentally, it's like, it's incredible. My range of emotions is so much deeper, and the way I can approach a problem or a situation, and the way my thought processes work, completely different. A certain level of self-control has also become apparent, where there's situations where I might stop myself from saying something where I normally would have, and thinking, well, this is not your time, this is not your day, so just bite your tongue and save it for an appropriate time. Whereas before, I was loud and obnoxious, and I would probably have had 400 beers, and I would be telling everybody my opinion because they needed to hear it, whether they realised it or not. So yeah, I'm definitely not that person anymore. I'm much more reserved in conversation. I think I've become a better listener. It's wonderful. It really is nice. Physically, I think you could probably agree that a lot of things have happened in such a short period of time. I'm absolutely ecstatic with the changes that have happened to my body physically. The obvious one being the breast growth. It's, if you're a trans woman, the best part, hands down, in my opinion, is the breast growth. And pretty much every other video I've put together, I've talked about boobs, so why would this one be any different? But I've personally now moved out of padded bras into just regular bras. So I'm a B cup, and they're quite comfortable, and I don't think I'm slowing down anytime soon. I think hopefully I'll get to a C cup. I mean, 8 months for a decent B is not too bad. So I should be thankful, and I am very thankful with what I've been blessed with. But the other surprising things too is just the actual body shape has changed so much. I know I don't get hip growth as far as the bones. I'm way too old for that, but the fat distribution is definitely happening, and I'm getting this butt, which is cool. The muscle mass has changed so much. I was at that point after my weight loss. Remember, I lost 65 kilos after having gastric surgery. And I'll admit now that I got quite thin. I was quite lanky and thin, and some would say I still am. But the fat has definitely come back on, and thankfully for me, from a mental standpoint, I've stopped weighing myself because I became a little bit obsessive about that. And yeah, there was a whole bunch of associated risks with where I was heading with diet. But anyway, that's thankfully resolved itself. My insomnia hasn't really changed that much. I am taking a medication to help me sleep, and it's helping a little bit, but it's a bit hit and miss. The other thing I was struggling with was my scalp and my hair health. So I'd reached my 12-month anniversary from my surgery. Also, the massive shift in my hormones saw my hair falling out in an alarming rate. So I'm very pleased to say that that's stopped. My scalp is much better, and in fact my hair is growing quite well. If you would have seen one of my posts over the weekend on Reddit, my wife dyed my hair for me. Yes, this is a wig, but my natural hair underneath is almost as long as this. It's quite amazing, but little did I know, I've got curly hair, right? So as it's growing out, it's all curly. So I have been straightening it. I would have had it on today, I would have been just had my natural hair out today, but I've quickly learned that it takes a lot of time and effort to be a woman, and straightening hair of a morning when you're making lunches and getting kids ready for school and getting yourself ready, etc. It just wasn't an option this morning, so I ended up just putting the wig on. So I am planning on visiting a hair salon and having it trimmed, because it hasn't been trimmed since pre-COVID. And I'm going to get it chemically straightened, so it will stay straight permanently to help me with my morning routine. What else? The other awesome thing that I keep thinking about is that 8 months is a long time, but in the scheme of things, it's not really that long at all, right? And there's all these other wonderful things that are still due to happen, apparently. Further fat redistribution, further softening of the skin and the facial features. And surgeries is another thing that has really changed for me. My thought process on surgeries has very much changed. I, at first, was thinking I'd probably get some kind of facial feminization surgery. Now it's like, I'm definitely getting it. I definitely need to get some things fixed. That's a no-brainer. And probably more things than I had originally thought I would. But then there's the bottom surgery. So I thought I was pretty well, I don't use the word convinced, but my stance on that was I wasn't going to get it. I didn't need it, I didn't want it, and it wasn't something that was important to me at the time. But what's happened over the last 8 months is, as I have feminized and as my body has definitely changed, when I stand there and look at myself in the mirror, obviously without clothing, there's a certain part that doesn't match anymore. It just doesn't look right. And the reality is, after being on hormones, on estrogen for this period of time, the functionality of those areas definitely changes. It's very well documented, and I went the informed consent, so it was very clearly explained to me that my libido would basically disappear, which it has. It's actually quite wonderful, because it's now in line with my wife's libido. Not saying that she doesn't have a sex drive, but ours is now aligned. So yes, there are times when we still share some intimate moments, and I won't go into detail on those because they are intimate and private. But it's not like, if you're a trans woman, you're going to understand this. If you're not, then you might struggle. In the presence of testosterone in the body, when your body is being run by that hormone, it's sometimes, usually, actually, more often than not, all you think about. It's sex, 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 sex. Like it's a thing. It really is a thing. When that's removed from your body, the drive's not there. It's like taking fuel out of a car. You can't run that engine because the fuel's not there. Well, the testosterone is the fuel for those parts. Take away the fuel, those parts don't necessarily want to work. And I'll be a little bit personal, and I have been in my previous videos. It's a big part of it. There's still functionality there. The spontaneous functionality has disappeared, but there is, if there's intent, it will still function. I hope I'm being as politically correct as I can be. However, mentally, I don't necessarily want that function to be there anymore. So that leads me to the decision of having gender reassignment or gender affirming surgery, is that I feel as though I want to have the body parts that match the rest of my body. This is just a personal thing for me. You're going to be different. Everyone's going to be different. And if you're there judging me on my decision because you don't understand it, well, that's your problem. It's not mine. I'm doing this, or I'm going to do this for me and nobody else. At the end of the day, it's what I want, and it's what I'm going to be happy with. So that in my opinion is a pretty big step from where I was to where I am, and I attribute that a lot to just obviously the transition, the change, but the mental aspect of what I'm going through as well. So it's pretty cool. So mentally as well, like I'm unashamedly like stereotypically watching like old chick flicks and things and still having a cry, still getting over emotional about things, back to some of the negative stuff. There are shit people in the world. I'm sorry for swearing, but there are horrible people in the world, and unfortunately every now and then you're going to come across them, and they're not going to make you feel good. And it all depends on what part of the month your mind is in. If it's that, for me, it's the start of the month usually. It's that first week where I have my cycle, where if something happens to happen to me during that month, I take it pretty hard, and I'll get a bit depressed, and it'll really cut me and hurt me if I'm misgendered or somebody says something mean, or gives me that funny look on the street. It's like, why do you have to be so mean? But other times it just bounces straight off. For example, I went to get my license photo updated the other day because I thought clearly we're travelling soon, so I needed my identification to reflect what I look like. I won't even describe the old photo. It's horrific. Anyway, it's gone now. But I walk into the place in Australia, Services New South Wales, where we get all of our licensing details updated. I walk in and there's a concierge there, and I walk up looking like this, and I did make a video of this the other week, and the person says, "Hello, sir, how can I help you?" Now, I haven't presented any ID yet. I hadn't opened my mouth, so they couldn't hear me speak. I get misgendered often over the phone because of my masculine voice. But yeah, he just says, "How can I help you, sir?" I was like, really? But I wasn't going through that part of the month, if you like, where I was very touchy about those things. So I just let it slide. I went, whatever, I'm here to change my photo. And then when I got to the counter and handed my old license in to the lady who took my new photo, she went, "Oh, I see why you want to update your photo." And she was lovely about it. So anyway, what else can I update you on? Yeah, I am 2 days early. Officially, it's Thursday, my 8-month anniversary or transversary, whatever you want to call it. But I thought, you know what, I probably won't have time on Thursday, so I'm doing it now. The other thing that's happening is my wardrobe. Like, I'm just really feeling confident to wear and purchase the things that I want to wear. So I just bought this outfit yesterday, this beautiful pink blouse and this grey business skirt. I joked some time ago, pre-transition, that if it was ever socially acceptable for people like me to wear skirts to work, you would never see me in pants again. And guess what? I now have about, I don't even know how many skirts I've got, but it's skirts every day. We're in winter here in Australia, and it's freezing, and I'm out there working out in the cold in a knee-length skirt. But I don't care. I love it. And unashamedly, this is how I've always wanted to present. This is how I've always wanted to dress. And the lovely thing is that I actually get really nice compliments, usually from other women, about how I am presenting and how I do dress myself in the style that I'm sort of developing, and it's all about blouses and skirts. I love it. Anyway, that's my prerogative, and that's how I view my wardrobe. So I hope this was somewhat entertaining, somewhat informative. If you're out there and you're starting your journey or thinking about it, just do it. Honestly, there's something to be said about living an authentic life and being true to yourself. Honestly, yeah, it's going to be hard and there are going to be difficult times, but I tell you what, I'll say it again. I didn't know this level of happiness could exist. I didn't know I could be this happy, and I truly am. I truly am. I'm always trying to be optimistic and look at the positive side of things. Yes, sure, there are hard times, and I've probably said that half a dozen times in this video, but anyway. I'm going to wrap up now. Thank you all for, again, watching. Thank you for being on this journey with me for 8 months. Thank you to the people who've subscribed to my channel, so hopefully you got this notification to watch today's video. And yeah, please keep commenting if you've got questions you'd like to ask, if you would like my perspective or views on trans related things. I'm not a political person, so please don't ask me those questions. I'd be more than happy to do my best to answer those questions for you. So, all right, well, that's me, 8 months. Here's to the next 8, 12. Here's to the rest of my life, being true to myself and being happy. Thanks again for watching. Bye.